to do this and get the audience. Sure, there's got to be something.
Yeah.
Now, we want to talk to you about
Why am I going to talk to you?
what you remember about the Depression. And I'm going to scratch other
Oh, yeah,
places
it's
so
going
you
to be
can't
very
say.
sad. It was a sad time.
Yes.
Do you remember how old you were around that time?
Yeah, I was only 5 and a half that time.
Yeah, you
You
were
were about 16.
15 to 16.
16.
Were you in school at the time?
At the time?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And how many people were living at home?
Oh, this is going to be hard. I
Well,
think there's...
No, about.
No.
In our family, 6.
Were living at home, and how many were in the whole family when you were all
4.
7.
7? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And was everybody working?
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody in the neighborhood wasn't working, or
All the people next door and people upstairs over there.
didn't
They
have
weren't
jobs?
working.
No.
And
How did they get their food? And
oh, well, Perky Swanson worked down on Wall Street, so he used to get the sugar.
and that would do what for the people?
Yeah, and that was like from our family and his family. He used to get a lot of it, so we were pretty well off then.
Oh, he'd get food.
Yes,
Yeah.
because he had a seat down there.
Yeah. Were there any like bread lines in the area, or?
Oh yeah, there was quite a few, yeah. And then of course it was in all the papers.
But what was it? Was there someplace near your house where you would see people?
Oh yes, yeah, over around 30th Avenue. Remember that, bud?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they were selling apples
And on the corner.
on the
But who would
corner.
get? How would they get the apples?
They go to the market.
They go to the market.
The
and they
Fulton,
would get,
the terminal market.
On the Bronx Terminal Market.
Yeah.
And they would get what, a whole?
A whole
Box of
whole
them?
box.
and they used to sell them for 5 cents
5 cents
each.
each.
And
5
at that
cents each?
time it
Yeah.
was good money. They made out good.
And that's for people who weren't working. We're trying
That's
to.
why-
That's
working.
right. Oh, we're
Yeah.
talking about all the people that weren't working.
people
They
weren't
had to
working.
get something.
But you also had a big family, right?
Yes.
How many were at home?
When I was, it was only me, my father,
And 8 kids.
And Gladys.
Yeah, well, there
Wait,
was
wait,
8.
wait.
Yeah.
That was, Mildred was married. No, there was about seven home.
Living at home.
Yeah.
Right. And you went to work around
And I
too.
went to work early. Yeah.
When you were about 11 or 12.
I went to work when I was about 15.
That was just before the Depression.
Yeah.
Just before it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was everybody in the house doing? What kind of work did they do?
Well,
Tell
one,
about your
they
mother.
worked my mother was dead.
At that time. This
at
is later.
that time,
Yeah, this is
I
later
see.
on.
Oh.
Yeah.
And my sisters used to work in Heightlines on Brook Avenue,
What was-
148th
what-
Street. That was
A store?
a
factory.
factory.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Factory.
What did they make?
What did they make? Snappers. They
yeah,
used to make
snap-
snappers. You know what you put on your clothes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You know the snappers. And you used
Oh,
to
yeah,
take them out.
snappers, they
We
used
used
to
to take
snap
them out from
together,
there
yeah.
and
Yeah.
do homework.
And they kept their jobs throughout all this?
Yeah.
They didn't have any problem with their
No,
work?
no.
Or? Oh. And you said about newspapers? Or
I delivered newspapers on the
Right.
newsstands. And
But-
Sunday I worked selling newspapers.
You're about 17 or 18?
I was 18.
Oh, and listen, don't forget to tell about Wall Street, that the men were jumping out the window.
And
They
that
were-
was a crash.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the Wall
they
Street
went
crash. That
crazy.
was.
Is there anybody that you knew in the
No.
neighborhood? Or
Oh, yeah, was a friend of ours
what was that?
that they had relatives that had a seat in Wall Street.
Yeah.
And they 2 of them killed themselves, jumping
Really?
out the window. Yeah, they lost everything they ever worked for.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
terrible. And then it got to be a regular thing. One saw the other do it. It was very sad.
Yeah.
Of course, we didn't know any of them personally, but it was
Yeah.
through the
But you
family.
heard that you heard of it through the family.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we had gasoline and all that. You know how cheap it was.
The shortages? Or?
There was no shortage of gasoline then.
Oh, no?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, and then at one time, like Kitty's husband, they had 3 children, and so they were jumping on the freight trains and going down south
To do what?
To get-
different jobs?
Yeah.
to get,
yeah.
you know, to pick the vegetables and the fruit, anything they could get their hands on. But they were great for selling the apples.
But where did these people live? Near you, or
Yeah, they lived. They lived up the Boston.
how old were the kids that went? I mean, they went down south.
I'm talking about the fathers.
Oh, the fathers
they
went
left
down.
the whole
Oh, I
families,
see. Oh,
yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, and then
And then they'd send back whatever they made?
That's right, yeah.
Were your local church helping anyway, or the parishes?
Oh yeah, the church was very good too.
What did they have?
Well, my mother was a widow
Right.
with 6 children,
Mhm.
and they used to have, send canned goods and things down to the house. So that was a help.
Yeah.
And we weren't the only ones. We had plenty of company.
Now,
Because
what kind
most
of a building did you live in?
tenement
gas,
houses.
Yeah.
gas, light, no
How
electric.
many apartments? How many people? How many apartments?
Oh, how many apartments? About 5 stories.
About 5
Yeah.
stories?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tenement, 5 stories.
And what floor did you live on?
I lived on the top floor.
We
What's that?
lived on the first
I
floor.
lived on the,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
How come you lived on the first?
Yeah.
You
I
picked it
lived
out? Or?
1, 2, 3. I lived on the 7th floor, the 5th floor on the top floor.
Well, my mother moved from Brooklyn,
Right.
and then this was the biggest place you could
I
get,
used to live
6
on
of us.
Brook
Uh-huh.
Avenue.
And he
you're-
lived up the block. That's how I
Yeah.
got to know him.
Oh,
That's how we got married. We
Yeah.
met on the block, and we grew up together. And is that all you want to know? I hope.
Well, no, if there's anything, like any
Like
people
what?
you remember or anything that happened to people around you.
Well, Mickey McManus, the time he was killed in Wards,
yeah.
one of the racks fell over on him. And he
Yeah.
was working a board making company at that time. And one of
Yeah.
the racks crushed him. That's Mickey McManus' brother.
Yeah.
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 Well, was it easy to get a job at Woods then? Or?
No, it was easy, but
Yeah.
not.
But you had to know
You had to
somebody
know
to get
somebody.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
There
pretty
wasn't a lot
hard.
of
Yeah, my
jobs
father
around.
worked there for years.
Yeah.
And I got my job through my father. I mean, after I got rid of the newspaper route. You know.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I started working for Ward, and I never gave it up.
Do you remember reading anything in the newspapers about the Depression at the time? Were they?
Well, a lot of people
Oh,
were
yes,
jumping out
yeah.
of the buildings.
It was
that I know.
terrible.
Yeah.
The people went crazy.
And those
because-
foreclosed the banks.
Yeah.
They,
Then did
the
people
Bank of the
panic,
United
or-
States, these 2 Jewish men, 2 brothers, they were arrested for taking the people over.
All right.
And President Roosevelt closed down the banks to get it.
Did your parents have money in any of the banks?
My
or-
father did, Bank of the United States.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
And then they closed that bank down, but then he got it back.
Oh, so he was okay.
He was okay.
All right.
He didn't have any stocks or anything
No,
like
no.
that.
Nobody had stocks.
It was really the ones on the Wall Street
No,
are the
you
ones
had-
that suffered,
it's
yeah.
mostly the Wall Street people that really knew how to deal in stocks.
Right.
Yeah.
Nobody knew how
And
to
they
deal
were the
in
ones
stocks.
that went crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were mostly the ones that jumped out windows. And
But
all
you
sorts.
said some of the people had to get down south to
Oh,
make
yes.
money. And
Yeah, a lot of
In fact, they had it in the movies how they all would
Yeah.
run after the trains
yeah,
and
like
jump.
like who's his
Leave their
a picture
families and everything.
That was it's come out. What's his name now?
Oh,
He died just recently. So.
Henry Fonda?
Henry
Grapes and
Fonda.
Crab.
Right, that's the one. They used to go down south. That's the way they
The
lived.
Dust
Yeah.
Bowl,
Yeah,
yeah.
the Dust
did
Bowl.
anybody lose their gas and electric or?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I mean
yeah.
shut off.
Yeah,
Oh
shut off.
yeah,
oh
a lot
yeah,
of
it used to
people.
be
Sure.
shut off on us a lot of times
Yeah.
too.
Well, we
They
had
just
a
couldn't pay the bill. You mean?
we had a gas meter,
Right.
and you had to put a quarter in.
Oh, so if you didn't pay, you didn't get it.
And
Yeah,
that's
that's
right.
right.
We had to pay a quarter in our gas meter to get the. Then we used to have a little mantle to put into the gas, and to make a blue light.
Yeah, and if you closed the door and
See,
slammed the door, that thing would fall apart. It was
You know, it was
so.
it was
Oh, the
a,
flame would go?
no, it was just a flame,
Yeah.
and then you put the mantle on it to
The
throw a blue
mantle
light,
was so
Oh.
soft you couldn't touch it.
Yeah.
It would break.
and you had to pay a quarter for that.
Yeah.
Then
That's
you,
right. Yeah.
and then you put a quarter in the meter for a couple of days, I think it was.
Yeah. Anybody lose their apartments or had to move out?
Oh, a
they-
lot of
Yeah, a lot
people
of
had
people
to
put
move.
out
They
in the
couldn't-
streets.
And didn't have the
Around
money
you,
to pay the
Yeah,
rent.
a lot of people put out on the street couldn't pay the rent.
Where'd they go, to relatives or friends?
Yeah,
or-
relatives.
Well, that was most of them that got on
Well-
the freight trains and went.
Well, no,
Yeah.
they didn't have nobody to go to
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was hard.
because nobody could help them.
Didn't you
Yeah.
take care of, didn't Grandma have little Jimmy?
Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah, my mother went to the fondling, and we had little boy Jimmy, and we had Eleanor. So, and she brought the two of
When,
them up
when
just
did you
with our
when
children.
did you get them? Do you remember what year? They
No,
came?
I don't
Yeah.
remember what year, but I remember it was the Depression. It was awful, just terrible.
Oh, because these children had been left at the New York Family Hospital?
Yes, yeah.
And nobody had a car. You could
Only
walk
rich
across
people
the
got a
street.
car.
You could walk across the street blindfolded and you wouldn't get
You
Where
wouldn't get
did you all
hit.
sleep if the house
Oh,
wasn't that
I
big?
slept,
right?
we
Four-
slept,
4 in the bed.
yeah. We slept in,
True, yeah.
me and my
Oh, that's
brothers,
true, we had a heart.
Eddie, we used to sleep together, you know.
And we didn't have television or anything
No.
like
You used
that.
to mention something about bed bugs.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
everybody
bedbugs.
had
That was,
bedbugs.
that
It was
was
terrible.
bedbugs, yeah.
Yeah.
We used to put, take it and put a match to the mattress and burn them down. And then
Yeah.
in between the springs of
Yeah,
the,
yeah.
of the,
To burn them out.
of the
Yeah.
springs, you
It was
know.
overrun with it.
Everybody had them.
Everybody.
Everybody
yeah.
had
Did
them.
many-
And then we never had a bath. We used to go to the free bath on 156th Street,
Uh-huh.
you know, and take a
Bathe-
shower and take a
bathe,
bathe
nickel
there.
and quarter.
Yeah,
Did anybody have to come out of school? Who's like in
I
school?
had to come
My
out of
oldest brother had to come out because when he worked in a grocery store to help my mother to pay the rent.
Uh-huh.
school. I had to come out of school because of well,
Yeah,
my
he was
family.
young, yeah.
Right.
And then I come out when I was 17.
Which is right around the beginning
Yeah, yeah.
of the Depression.
Yeah.
To work.
Yeah. But I was always working
And then you were
anyway.
in the 3A, they were going to take you. Only that you had 3 children and they,
Oh,
That was later on.
That was
during the
later
war.
on?
That was during
Yeah,
the
that was the
war.
war.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
I'm getting it
that was
mixed.
during the war.
Any more questions?
No, I think that's about all. We could go on and on all
Are there any
night.
more questions that you think of that you discussed?
Well, I'm saying like we had
You like that one?
the bed bugs here. Oh, everybody, every family had.
Yeah, it
them.
was
Good, that's why I
terrible.
wanted to-
Yeah,
Every family had. And then they used to have lice in their hair.
yeah. And my mother was from Ireland and they were exceptional.
That's a fact.
They
We used
were
to-
so clean.
My
from
mother used
Ireland.
to. I
And
mean,
she
when
had
I
it-
was a kid,
Yeah.
she used to fine comb my hair every night. All her.
Everybody had to
she
get their
10
head
children.
washed.
Every one of them.
Everyone had to take a bath.
Every one of them. It wasn't easy, you know.
Yeah.
And then then we had cockroaches like crazy, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't your mother take in washing or something?
Oh, my mother took them washing. Yeah, every time you saw her, she had the thing in the tub, scrubbing,
Yeah.
scrubbing,
Well, my
you
mother
know.
was a
Washing and
policewoman,
ironing,
and she
didn't
even
she?
did that.
And then the
during
ironing.
During the war.
But we were always clean. Everything. We had plenty of soap and water, and there was no excuse for being dirty.
And she used to help out during the war with
Yeah.
taking collections up on 3rd Avenue, you know, at the station with a container,
Yeah,
you know.
Everybody was out and made a few pennies,
yeah.
and everybody struggled along. And then you appreciated everything.
Yeah, but you both had large families. There were
Yeah,
like six.
everybody had a
Yeah.
large family.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
10 in his family.
Yeah,
Right. And this
everybody.
was
Who
up
was
in
it
the
that
Bronx.
used to go down to the railroad tracks and
Yeah.
take the coal
The
that fell
coal,
off the train?
Yeah,
I used to get down
that's
the
it.
railroad, then I used to get the wood, you know, and then I used to put the wood on the car tracks, and he used to split the wood for me. Yeah, but I didn't have an axe, so then I used to pile it up.
Oh,
The
so when the
trolley
train
cars.
came through, oh, the
Yeah,
trolley car
trolley
would come
cars.
through, would cut it for you?
Yeah, Westchester Avenue, I used to and I used to wait for the trolley car, and I seen him come, I used to put the wood down. Yeah.
Good, that's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah,
All right.
that's about it.
I think that's good.
Okay, thanks,
Thank you.
Mommy
Thank you.
and Daddy.
All
Thank
right.
If
you.
it works out, we'll give you a call.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get-
And now when we-
we'll call you, John.
and now when we
Tell
look
about
and we
the bed
see it, we'll
bugs.
say,
Don't forget about the
"Ay,
bed
ay,
bugs."
ay, ay, ay."
Dark out yet, you know, like now, you get up early in the morning, and we used to put the light on, and geez, the roaches running all over the place.
All
Yeah,
directions,
yeah, that was a
Yeah,
shame.
We
roaches.
even had that. We even had
Roaches
that.
running all over them. But the bed bugs, oh, we used to burn the springs, and
But
we used to smell them. We
Bobby,
used to
you
smell the
can
bugs.
imagine my
And,
mother.
and we used to burn them.
My father drowned. I was only a baby,
I
11
used to
years
do
old, and she had 6 of us to feed. The oldest was
Me and my
12.
brother Eddie, he made a Christmas for all us kids.
Yeah, he was
He made a
good.
Christmas for us, you know?
That was nice.
He went out
He
before-
always managed to
he
get a
managed
tree
to-
decorated.
He was always bought a tree and decorated it. He was good.
Yeah.
He was good.
You know, if we tell you this, you know, you couldn't say that could be my,
No, you
can't be
couldn't.
my grandmother and grandfather.
I used to get down and get the wood, and one day I couldn't get the
we're just
wood.
glad to get something
I was
to
afraid
eat.
to go home because I hit my sister. You know, because she hit me twice, you know, and then I hit her back, and then I ran out. I couldn't get no wood.
Yeah,
And so then I hit her back, and I was afraid to go home because I might get whipped from my father. And then I was coming down 149th Street at 3 in the morning,
yeah.
and
we
my
saw
father's
you
out
try.
looking for me. They're all out looking for me.
Yeah.
And I come out, and this cop sees me, this policeman, and he goes around.
How old were you?
I was about 15 or something like that. And he sees me, and he cuts through that way, and I seen him, I cut around the other way, and he caught me in the next block. So he says, how you doing out so late? I said, I'm afraid to go home. He says, where do you live? I said, down 149th Street. He said, come on, I'll take you home. And then my father was out looking for me, and then when I got home, the cop brought me up to me. He said, my father, no, go right to bed. You're not going to school today.
I love you.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
just
I'm
it.
not gonna smack you because I'm glad to see you.
Yeah, he says, and the cop says, well, don't touch him. To my father. I remember him saying, don't touch him.
Oh, that was nice.
Oh, the fathers always beat the kids up. It was terrible. They thought nothing
My
of
father
smacking their
never
kids
hit us,
around.
No.
It was a terrible
My
night.
father never hit us either. My mother, though.
My father never touched.